Programmer, coder, developer. There are a number of titles used to describe people who create software. But what does it mean to be a software engineer? Despite the way software is often taught, being a software engineer is about far more than simply producing syntactically correct programs. What's up, friends? Dan Vega here, and today I'm really excited to announce the release of my new book, Fundamentals of Software Engineering: From Coder to Engineer. It is surreal being able to hold this book in my hands. Many emotions right now, mostly joy, a little bit of relief. Happy that this has finally come out. It has been a career goal of mine for as long as I can remember to write a book. And the timing just never worked out. The project never worked out. But this one is just been an amazing experience. And I want to tell you a little bit about it here. So I tweeted out, probably, I got to look and find the original tweet, but I tweeted out one day, probably around this time of year, of my goals for the next year. I really like to sit down and like plan out some goals. What are the big bucket items I want to try to accomplish? And in this tweet, one of those was to write a book. And my good friend Nate Schutta saw that tweet and responded with, I can help with that. He was starting this project, The Fundamentals of Software Engineering, and needed a co-author for this book. And it just happened to be that it was with O'Reilly, one of my favorite publishers, actually. I've loved O'Reilly books for as long as I can remember. I've gotten offers to write other books for other publishers, and I just knew that my first book had to be with O'Reilly, just because I have looked up to them for so long. The beautiful covers, the just amazing material that gets produced through O'Reilly. And I knew that this was going to be a perfect fit for me. So I want to talk a little bit about who this book is for, and then we'll dive into some more details. I'll share some resources with you. I am recording this before the book is available on Amazon. That will be Tuesday, December 9th, which is actually tomorrow. And this is already available on the O'Reilly platform if you want to get instant access to that and many other wonderful books from O'Reilly. You can go sign up for there. I'm also going to be giving away 3 keys, 3 trials, 30-day trials for O'Reilly, where you can go on and read this book and many other books, whatever you can fit in 30 days. And to enter that contest, I want you to leave a comment below. I want you to tell me what your favorite fundamental of software engineering is and why. And at random, I'll pick 3 out of those answers, and we'll give you some 30-day trials. And if you win, I'll comment on YouTube, and then you can go ahead and send me an email, and we'll get those over to you. All right, so I'm going to share this resource with you. This is our landing page for the book, Fundamentals of SoftwareEngineering.com. Software engineering is spelled SWE. That's a common acronym in the software engineering space. So first off, we had some amazing reviewers on this book. Chris Judd, Venkat, Raju, Neil Ford, so many more. There were so many great technical reviewers on here. We've got a lot of quotes from them. You can find them on the webpage here. But if you go down and take a look at Get the Book, you will see that there are links to both the O'Reilly platform, so you can get that and many other books, or you can go on Amazon and pre-order yours. Again, it will be start to deliver tomorrow. So Wednesday the 10th, you should probably start getting these books in. I'm really excited for you to get this book because I've poured so much into it with Nate, and we've had editors and technical reviewers look at it, but I have not had anyone else get to read it yet. And so I'm really interested in some feedback. If you have some feedback, I would love to throw it on this website. These are just some samples, but I want to populate this with what your thoughts are on the book. So if we jump over to the O'Reilly Learning Platform, we can start to talk about who this book is for and what you will find in it. So this book is specifically designed for new software engineers. Our goal is to show you the bigger picture of what it takes to become a true software engineer beyond just coding, and what it takes to advance your career. But the fundamentals that we'll discuss in this book aren't just for beginners. Experienced engineers can also benefit from mastering these essential skills, especially if they're looking to move up and take on more senior roles. Building a strong skill set is what will unlock opportunities for more responsibilities and promotion. So that's kind of our target audience for the book. we like to say that like anybody can read this book, and certainly some people will read it cover to cover, but there are also, chapters are kind of in isolation. So if you want to pick out a chapter on a specific topic, you can do so. It'll go into what you'll learn, but I kind of want to talk about how this book is broken up. So it's broken up into 4 parts. First is core skills. How to move from being just a programmer to an engineer. What are the paths to becoming a software engineer and the importance of these foundational skills? Nate and I have been giving talks and workshops all over, and we've been framing this on the fundamentals of software engineering in the age of AI. Now, while I see a lot of chatter out there about people saying that the fundamentals no longer matter, I wish I didn't go to school. We have all these vibe coding tools. The fundamentals don't matter. I'm taking the exact opposite approach to that. I think the fundamentals matter more than ever. How many times have you read a story about somebody who vibe coded an app 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, everything's gone. They lost it all. Because one of those core fundamental skills are source code control and things like Git and GitHub. If they would have stored that in Git and had some version history on their software, nothing would be lost. And I don't start any project, even if it's a single HTML file now, without Git. So that's kind of a fundamental skill, right? We go into reading and writing code. As much as we're taught to write code, we read 10 times more code than we write. So reading is such a fundamental skill, and Nate did an amazing job with this chapter. Next, we go into technical practices, starting with modeling, diving into the role of software modeling, aka the box and line diagrams you've encountered before, is a crucial aspect for communication among software developers. Next, automated testing, covering the benefits of automated testing for code quality and developer confidence. People think they need to write tests to basically cover some metric, but I've always found it that it really just gives me the confidence that whatever I'm working on is going to work at the end of the day, but also not disrupt the system as a whole, right? And then finally, on the idea of reading code, we also did a chapter on exploring and modifying unfamiliar systems. One of the things that gave me a lot of anxiety early on in my career was diving into this huge project at a new job, and everybody else on the team is like already up to date on this and knows how to make changes. But like, where do you start in these large projects? We give you some tips on kind of exploring those unfamiliar systems and how to get up and running quickly. Next, part 3 is application development and design. We start with user interface design, understanding the user and applying design principles that will ensure your software meets your user's needs. Working with data. It's all about working with data, and nearly every software developer or application does in some manner. So we'll talk about the essential skills you need to make informed decisions about your data. And it's not just about databases, right? That's an important concept, but it's also working with different data types and choosing the right one for your application. Software architecture in chapter 9 explores the complexities of software architecture, giving you some insights into those architectural trade-offs. One of the things Nate loves to say all the time is it depends. And in this case, it really does depend. There are many architectures out there that will solve problems for you, but there are trade-offs with each of them. And how do you go about picking the right one? Finally, to production. Talk about getting our code into production. It's great to be able to build these things on our local machine, but ultimately we need to get them into production. What are some of the things we need to think about? We're talking about real users, real environments where things can go wrong, and some strategies for building production-ready code. Last but not least, part 4, professional development and growth. So we start in chapter 11 with powering up your productivity, returns to your day-to-day work, and the importance of building your personal toolkit. One of my favorites, Learning to Learn, chapter 12. As developers, we've signed up for a lifetime of learning. One of the things I love about this career that I've decided to dive into a long, long time ago, but covers the importance of continuous learning. The chapter offers strategies for keeping up with the ever-changing field. Next, in chapter 13, mastering soft skills in the tech world, a very important one. Dives into the importance of soft skills in your career, discusses collaborative communication, influence, and stakeholder management. Chapter 14, turns out to be one of my favorite chapters in the book. One that I didn't know if I wanted to write at the beginning, but wow, I had so much fun kind of pouring my experience into this, planning on navigating your software engineering career. Discusses finding out what you're passionate about, exploring different career paths, and being deliberate with skill acquisition. So important. Also covers building your personal network, acing interviews, and creating that work-life balance. Again, I think one of the important parts of this chapter for me was nobody sat me down 20 plus years ago and said, here are some different paths that you can go into as a software developer, and here's how you get there. I thought it was learn to code, keep coding, and then you either become a manager or you just keep coding. And so there are so many different paths that you can go down, and we cover those in this chapter. Finally, the AI-powered software engineer touches on one of the most disruptive topics in the software space today, which is AI. So I really went into just an introduction to what AI is and what it means to us as developers, how we can take advantage of some of the tools to be a force multiplier as an engineer. And we even touch on terms like vibe coding and such. So that was another one, fun one to write. So 15 chapters in the book, split up into kind of 4 parts. We don't go into each of these topics exhaustively. You just can't. There are entire books written on automated testing, some of which are probably behind me here. So we can't be exhaustive about all of this. What we're trying to do is give you that foundation. And then we, at the end of each chapter, we do a couple of things. One, we do putting it into practice. So instead of just reading something and moving on to the next section, here's some things that you can do to put everything we talked about into practice. You don't want to just learn, you want to learn whatever that theory is and then go apply it somehow. And then we also give you some resources for continued education, because if this is something you need to dive into more, again, a chapter on automated testing isn't going to do it justice. You probably need to go off and dive into some other things. One of the things Nate and I have been talking a lot about lately is you don't know what you don't know. And I think this book is going to help fill some of those gaps, or at least that's the hope here, right? So that is the fundamentals of software engineering. Again, the website here, if you want to learn more about the book, Nate and I are also starting a podcast, so you can check out that. The first episode of that should drop tonight as I'm recording this. There's a blog. We're going to add some appearances here when we'll be at different conferences. We have some workshops lined up for next year. So really excited to go out and talk about the fundamentals of software engineering. If you want, you can head over to Amazon now. As you see on this date today, Monday the 8th, it is not available, but it will be released tomorrow, December 9th, and it will start shipping then. So again, we're going to start getting this in the hands of you guys, which I am very, very excited about. Really interested to hear your thoughts on something that I just poured a ton of work into. All right, that's it. The Fundamentals of Software Engineering from Coder to Engineer by Nate Schutta and Dan Vega. Do me a favor, pick it up. If you want to, send me some feedback, whether it's on Amazon or O'Reilly, or send me an email. And if you want to be included, I can go ahead and throw that on the website as well. That would be really, really helpful to us. Ooh, that was a lot of fun. I know it's not over yet because now we're kind of talking about it a little bit more, but it's just surreal to me to be able to hold this book in my hands, and more importantly, now be able to get it into your hands. I don't know if you know this, but people who write tech books don't get rich off of them. That's not why you do it. I've written blog posts and articles my entire career and created videos, and I think the passion for that starts with the ability to teach. I love to teach. I love to help and inspire others. And so my hope for this is that you pick up this book and something in here really helps you out on your journey, because we've all had people, resources help us along our journey. And I hope this is one of those. So friends, that's it. Leave me some comments below. Again, 3 of you will get free 30-day trials for O'Reilly, where you can read this book and more. Let me know what your favorite fundamental is and why. And thanks for listening to me rant for a couple minutes about this book. Till next time, happy coding, friends.